Hey there. I just wanted to pop in. I just got done with client sessions this morning, and something in particular came up that I hope could be useful to some of you. For any of us that feel maybe more sensitive or maybe exceptionally unique in this reality, and it's very natural for a lot of us to feel like this world wasn't built for us, and that's because it's true. It wasn't. And yet we're here anyway, so why not make the best of it? So one example and sort of approach that came up in one of the client sessions this morning that I wanted to share here because I love how it came through. And again, I hope it's useful. They use the example of like an elite athlete, and her team and my team use the example of like a professional diver, or maybe not professional, but a top diver, like a platform diver maybe, or something like that. And that the coach for that diver will work with that diver to make sure that the diver's under the ideal circumstances for their best performance. And so there's a coach there. They're sort of noticing what maybe they lose their mental mindset that is necessary for their best performance. They're very picky and very I want to say deliberate and intentional about the environment that the diver is in pre-performance and during the performance, and maybe even after the performance, right? A lot of us could maybe do better if we gave ourselves permission that there are ideal circumstances that we can take more ownership for in our lives to help us feel like the setting is better for us to be ourselves, and that this world won't do that for us. And most of us don't have a coach like a professional diver would, in terms of really encouraging you and helping make sure that you're not distracted by something or something that brings you down, or just gets you out of your best zone. So really allowing yourself those choices, and I want to even the choosiness and maybe judginess to really take ownership for things that take you out of your best, whatever that is. There are some things we can't control, but there are so many things that we can control. And one maybe silly example for me that I'll give in my life is that I felt like I was enjoying my Jill and enjoying my work a lot more until I went on Facebook. And there was something about the Facebook environment that was it was almost like I felt just sort of distracted and icky. My energy almost felt scrambled or diminished from the experience of having been on Facebook. And I noticed that I was almost like a different energy structure pre-going on Facebook at a certain time, and then after, kind of scrolling through my news feed or interacting with comments or whatever. So at the end of July, I decided to run an experiment where I was going to go off of Facebook, which I use for my work, but I'm running an experiment here. So it was like, I wonder if my business will even be affected by not being on Facebook. So I ran through the month of August, and I enjoyed myself better. I enjoyed my work better because I'm not only on Facebook, and I have felt like a better Jill by not being on Facebook. I may not always feel that way. The experiment continues, and I'm still not on Facebook for now, but the accounts are still there. I haven't closed my accounts, and I'm just hoping that there is any of us feeling the ability that we have in our lives to maybe run your own experiment. What are different things in your life where it's supporting you in being your best self, and really sort of considering those that's great. The system works well there. And where doesn't the system of you, the life of you, this best version of you that you enjoy most and that you feel is the most effective and productive and maybe even useful in this world? When is that happening? And are you taking maybe any steps or any measures? And are you allowing yourself to be curious about adjustments and tweaks that you can make to your life and the different ways that you are you that can perhaps enhance your experience, your enjoyment here, and your sense of feeling the most free to be your best self, since this reality is not set up for our ideal self. And I'm not expecting it to ever get ideal in that regard, especially in our lifetimes. So I take a lot of care in what I feel is supporting my best me, and maybe what feels like it's getting in the way of my being my best me. Not in a selfish way that is in any way harmful towards others, but just really feeling more agency over an acknowledgement and improving my self-awareness about what is supporting me feeling like the best Jill I could be and what isn't. All right. Okay. Yeah, you may want to take a nice deep breath with that, because sometimes we sort of go through the motions, especially in times of stress or anxiety or uncertainty. There are so many things that we don't even realize we're making a choice in it. And we don't realize that, I mean, there's probably some other people on Facebook that don't even like Facebook, but they feel like, well, I have to be on there because, and I don't know if that's true. Maybe you want to run an experiment of anything that you're wondering if you could be an even better version of yourself if you adjusted that relationship or that environment or that way of you being you. Okay? Because this reality is not ideal, it's not ideal for anyone. All of us have this, I would say, own opportunity, but I would also say responsibility, which is just responding to your abilities and constantly assessing what is supporting us, encouraging us, what's wanting us to do well. Almost, that's kind of a fun way to look at it, because there are forces in this reality that it's almost like it's set up to get in the way of our doing well or distract us from being well and doing well. And that's odd and that's weird. And I don't see the point in really examining that too much, although I have in Outwitting with the Wetiko series in particular. I really deconstructed the whole lack of light forces in this reality, and it was extremely eye-opening. But just knowing that that's a part of this world, that there are going to be people, there's going to be experiences, there's going to be interactions, there's going to be tools and systems that end up not being a positive for you. And it may just be a neutral, but it may actually be a negative. And the more you try to force fit it, the more exhausted you may feel. That's definitely true in relationships. Yeah, I feel like we're sliding into relationship conversation now, which feels good. I've been really lucky in a lot of my relationships in my life that the individuals, I mean, even my husband of 27 years. Yeah, it's 27 years this October. That's amazing that we've been married that long. That's what happens when you get up into the 50s, right? We bring out the best in each other. I can't even imagine calling a friendship or a romantic relationship or a mate, a spouse. I can't even imagine saying yes to a relationship like that with someone that brings out the worst in me, whether it's conscious on their part or not. The fact that there are so many individuals that are in these relationships as adults when we should have more say with individuals, and they're like, yeah, it drives me crazy. You know what I mean? It's like, well, then what's going on there, right? I mean, why are you, I mean, like, what is it about that? Why are we like allowing for it? Why are we tolerating it? Why aren't we standing up for ourselves more? And instances where we unconsciously or subconsciously bring out the worst in others, that's worthy of some serious examination, because that's some Wetiko going on in our field, is what I call it, WETIKO. It's this nonsense behavior that is, it's surprising sometimes when it can come up in individuals. They surprise themselves at like, wow, I am literally like trying to push their buttons. It's like an awareness of there's maybe a part of yourself that is instigating their worst self in that situation. And it's sometimes really humbling to acknowledge that, oh my God, like I am doing that. Right. And it's not pretty. It's normally, whenever I have that situation, it definitely doesn't happen as much now, but I remember as a kid, this is embarrassing to say, I had a friend when I was like in third grade, And I remember knowing exactly how to push her buttons, and on some days enjoying it. I mean, I just remember us riding our bikes outside in Albert Lee, Minnesota, and we were riding bikes, and it was something like I said, seems like I heard thunder, but you can't have thunder unless it's raining outside. And I knew it was wrong, and she was one of those people that had to be right. And I knew it would just make her all upset. Like, that's not true. That you can have thunder without rain. And she got all excited about me saying something that I didn't even believe was true. I just knew it would get a rise out of her. And I was like, there she goes. She's getting all upset over nothing. And that's so sad that there was even a part of me like that as Jill. And that I did that and was aware of it and knew what I was doing. Oh my God. Maybe some of you are like, yeah, maybe I've done that. Hopefully not anymore. Hopefully it's a distant memory for you. But if you're doing it now, oh my God, please, like, you're probably pretty bored in your life if you're even thinking about doing something like that. It's so silly. But life is boring. Life can be very boring. And sometimes we get a kick out of doing something that includes bringing the worst and, encouraging the worst in another person. And that's just sad. And let's do better, right? Let's be better than that. And we can be better than that, of course. Most of us in a community, if you're normally hanging out with me, if you're subscribed to my channel and get notifications and all that stuff, we're so actively engaged in trying to bring out the best in other people. And part of this impromptu message here, and I'll probably be wrapping up soon. What time is it? Is that sometimes we don't take enough ownership, and we could be better about setting up a situation and taking care of ourselves in a way and orchestrating our environments so that we also are a best version of ourselves in that moment. And really, again, taking ownership for that, making the choices that support that, saying yes and no to certain things or certain people that support that. I'm like, do I want to go there? I'll go there. There were two, this is embarrassing to say, but I'm just going to say it. There were two longtime clients that I didn't fire them, but I've heard of others they're in a client firing mode sometimes these days. But there were two individuals that were just really, I was so shocked and disappointed in how they handled the situation. And I was like, that is not like how I would have handled that situation. I don't appreciate how they did that. And so I let myself sit with it for a few days. And I was just like, I'm not okay with this. I would have never done that to them. Had the situation been reversed, I would never handled it that way. And without an apology and an edit and an updated public comment based on that situation. And I was just like, so if I wouldn't do that, and I know I deserve better than this, why am I putting up with this? Well, yes, they may need my help or whatever, may be benefiting from my work, but that doesn't mean I have to put up with this bullshit, right? And it wasn't normal behavior for them. So, I mean, on a better day, maybe it wouldn't bother me at all. And I'd be like, oh, whatever, they're having a bad day. That's not the normal person. I know, but it was what it was. And I just felt like I deserve better than this, and I'm going to act accordingly. So I emailed both of them and told them they were done in the membership for at least the rest of 2020. And then maybe we'd reevaluate, but I wish them well. And I said, I hope you find exactly what supports you and your being, your source energy on this planet. But I'm taking myself out of the situation for now. Excuse me. So that was awkward. And it's weird to talk about that in public, but I do want to share that with you as an example of some very real things that can happen in this world, especially if you are a service provider and you really put yourself out there. And it's maybe we make it look easier than it is, and there's more energy involved in it than sometimes maybe we care to admit. But what is your best situation? And are there changes and experiments that you can run to be an even better version of you that is maybe even more pure in your light? Maybe even more strong and resilient in your love and your hope and your wisdom and encouragement, whatever you feel like you are and offer in this world, whatever you represent in this world. What is getting in the way of that? And is there something that you can adjust in that system or that experience? Please do it. Please run an experiment, because you do matter, and came out funny. You do matter, and your source energy is unique and one of a kind. So your ability to take yourself seriously enough where you want to set up an ideal situation where you can, right? That's perfect. Okay. All right. I think that's it. It was a really, really quick one here today. I hope you got something out of it, though. I love you guys. I hope you're doing well. It's strange times right now, and I can feel some of us are very much in creation mode and excited about what we can be and offer and share and experience in this world. And of course, there's others that are hunkering down and trying to get through this difficult time. And I love that there's enough support for all of us, no matter what sort of version of our experience we're in. Okay. Yeah. I'm cheering you on always, though. Okay. Oh, thank you, Rashmi. Oh, hey, Lindsay. She's saying, I've been watching your videos this morning. You always help me shift in difficult times. Amazing perspective. Oh, Lindsay. Oh, how lucky am I that I got to pop in here live and be with you. Huge hugs to you, sister. And it's an honor to be alongside you in this journey. And please know I'm always cheering all of you on in being a version of yourself that you like and love, and hopefully say wow to every once in a while, like, wow, I didn't know I could do that. I didn't know I could be that in this world. Woo-hoo, those are good days. And the more of them we have, the better. And the more it feels like our life is counting, because we're letting it count, letting your life count, letting you matter, taking yourself seriously. Yeah, it's really good. Okay. Hi, Kate. She's saying crazy time with mucho potential. Muy bien. Yeah, good stuff. All right. Okay, I'm out. Peace. Bye, you guys. Got a lot of stuff going on over here today and lots of creation projects. I'm excited to share some new things with you guys going forward. There's a lot in the works from this camp over here. And I hope that you're feeling excited and at least a little bit hopeful, and hopefully a lot of it hopeful about yourself in this world. I'm always hopeful about this world. It is in a maybe more realistic, grounded way than some of you or some others. But I really enjoy being a hopeful person. And I realize that part of some people's anxieties and depression or worse, come from a lack of hope for themselves, and or a lack of hope in a general future of this reality. And one thing that, for anyone that has fallen prey, let's say, to the particularly negative views of like climate change and some things like that, there's a podcast I'm actually listening to for the second time that you may enjoy, and I'm just going to give you the details. It is the Science Salon podcast. And from what I know my podcasts are this way too. The podcasts are wherever you listen to podcasts, and this one included. And there normally also is a YouTube version that people create too. So the podcast is called Science Salon. The creator is Michael Shermer. I really appreciate Michael's perspective, even on things I disagree with him on. I appreciate his integrity, his intelligence, his heart and compassion, and very wise being. And I love his discernment. He is literally a professional skeptic, which I appreciate. I feel like some of us that are maybe too, I want to use the word gullible. Maybe some of us that get too easily convinced about things that are not true. We could use a perspective like Michael Shermer. Anyway, so the podcast in particular that I'm listening to is posted July 21st, 2020. And I wish there was a number on it. I think it's scrolling slowly. I'll wait for it to, let me see if I can get this way. No, it's not that way either. Okay. This is a really long title. I'm so sorry it's so long, but I think you will find it by Science Salon, posted July 21st, 2020. Oh, here it comes. It's slowly like a reader board or whatever. Number 125. And the guest is Bjorn Lomborg, Lomborg. I ran into this, his main point is false alarm about some of the very extreme predictions of climate change that not only have not come true, but are unlikely to come true. And I think he is a scientist, and anyway, just a very healthy perspective. And I was aware, I became aware of this even before I had children, that there was sort of a very dismal viewpoint of what Earth was headed into. And it was really like, I don't feel like that's true. I mean, it's not that it's not that it can't happen, but I just don't feel like it will happen. So I had a very different perspective of the longevity of Earth. And I just felt like there was a lot of false alarms. So I like the kind of key title of that podcast. But psychologically and developmentally, the more extreme views of climate change, I feel, have done tremendous psychological and developmental harm to multiple generations in our present time. And I'm deeply concerned about this. I shared in another very vulnerable, I let myself get very vulnerable with a video that I posted probably, when was that? Around September 2nd, maybe 2020, about, it was about a lot of things, but anyway, that's a good one. Anyway, you may want to go check that out. It's just about 25 minutes long. But one point in that I was sharing is that I was, vaping was becoming I think it still is a huge issue at my younger daughter's junior high school. So 7th through 9th grades, vaping was like a pandemic. And I was talking and just learning more, like, where did this come from? I mean, these are not kids whose parents smoke. These are, I'm not judging people who smoke, but anyway, the normal pattern of curiosity and drug usage and all these things didn't fit from what I was sensing with vaping. So as I sort of dug into the research about what is happening here? Why is this marketing by Juul and these others so successful? What is going on here? I dug in and did some research, and then obviously I was using my Jill spidey senses to sense and kind of feel into it too. And at one point I asked my daughter, I said, don't they know? I mean, these kids that are doing this routinely, like regularly inhaling these chemicals and all this shit into their lungs, don't they know? And I mean, that it could harm them, like long term, especially like marijuana, THC based products that are inhaled in that way at such a young age when the brain is developing. Don't they know? And she said, she said something to the effect of, I don't think they care. I don't know if they think they're going to live long enough. It was, and I don't want to misrepresent what she was saying, but it was something to the point of, there is such apathy about the future. Like, is the planet even going to be here when we're in our 20s and 30s? So what if my brain isn't functioning the way it could have had I not abused myself in this way and damaged my body and harmed my brain in some way that, so what? I may not be here anyway. The planet may be gone by then. We may have burned up by then. There was such apathy. And when she said that, she said, I don't know if they care. And I was just like, and then it was this sense of not even having a future. And this isn't, again, from a profile perspective, these are not kids that would on paper need to be worried about the potential of a happy, healthy future. So it was just like, wow, hi Samson, are you telling me it's time to go out? It was really unsettling. And I was like, oh my God. And, they were born in 2008 to 2010-ish range. And think of all the climate science, and it is science, but the predictions are predictions. They're always wrong. And this attempts of activists to be very dramatic and extreme to get the attention of those that they feel we're not taking this seriously enough. I feel like we've really shot ourselves in the foot in a lot of ways, and I'm very concerned about it. I talk to, I have clients that are parents, and, how am I going to, I can feel that level of fear about like the longevity of the planet and the longevity of the sun. And I just think that these are really interesting things to be worried about when there's so many other more real risks that we should be taking far more seriously than whether the sun is going to last. It's just like, wow. Anyway, so I think you might like that podcast if you're anywhere towards the, oh my God, we're all going to die. Or if you've ever been in that version of we're all going to die. Because even if you feel like, well, maybe we're going to make it, maybe if you have a sliver of hope that we're going to make it, I feel like that podcast is very real. Also, Steven Pinker. Yeah, Steven Pinker is really good for any doomsdayers as well. And yeah, I've got a lot of podcasts to share with you guys. I love podcasts. Yeah, The Logic of Doomsday. That's another one I've been listening to. And that one is Making Sense, the Making Sense podcast, number 210. And then Steven Pinker, let me find the name of his book. And I haven't read it, but whenever I hear him in interviews, I'm like, there is some sanity right there. So Steven Pinker, he's done some great podcasts with, he was a guest on Joe Rogan's at one point, but I really appreciate Steven Pinker. So his book that is specific to this is called Enlightenment Now. And there's a lot of great data that he has about reasons to be hopeful that are very centering. And I love things that are centering. So, okay. All right, how are you guys doing? Oh, good. Ab Moment said, I think we are way more awesome than we realize. Oh, I totally agree. Lindsay Good. She said, you recommended episode 132 of Science Salon in the last video I watched. Oh, good. I hope in the last video I watched. Okay. I hope you heard it and maybe you liked it. Hello, Rashmi. He's saying in India, groundwater is almost finished. I think that people are taking climate change issue lightly now. I'm not sure if I'm reading that correctly in terms of finish, but I think climate change should be taken seriously and we should be doing things to be proactive. It's a matter of the level of doom and gloom and the actual effects of the most likely outcomes and models that we are missing. And I am concerned that some of the activists on any side paint a really dismal picture in order to get people's attention that misrepresents the state of affairs, and maybe even to themselves, they're deluding themselves about how bad things could get if we don't do anything. Sometimes there is a mischaracterization of the threat and the danger, and that actually was part of that message that I shared early in September too. Okay. Yeah. Hi, Kate. She's saying, yes, that nihilism being peddled. Ooh, I love your word, sister. That nihilism being peddled, that can be infuriating and at least disempowering. Yeah, for sure. Okay. All right, you guys, that feels like a wrap. This was a quickie. Okay. All right. Love you guys and hope you have a wonderful week. For those of you that are looking for an experience, another experience with us that is a lot deeper than kind of an impromptu live, we have a monthly, we have an equinox event scheduled for Monday, September 21st it would be 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. And I'm very excited. I'm very excited about that one. So that one is a premium, JRF premium experience, and that's available by checking out my website at jillreneefeeler.com if you're interested. If not, I'm happy to be here with you today too, and I hope it was helpful in some ways. Hopefully there's something here for you. Okay, I love you. Cheering you on always. Bye-bye for now.